Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Monday, July 29th, 2019. Really want to do an important video here, but due to all the censorship, I think I better call Google first to see if I can get permission. So let's try out their customer service. See if we can talk to who we need to talk to. It's been a couple of years since I tried to call them, because the last time I called, they said they didn't have any way to contact YouTube. Maybe things have changed, but there's got to be someone there who knows if I can do this video or not. So let's see.
Hi, welcome to the Googleplex. We don't provide support here at our Mountain View campus. So if you're trying to reach support, you can find contact info for many of our support teams at google.com/support. In the meantime, I can give you some other options that might help. If you're calling because you can't get into your Gmail account, press 1. If it's for an Android device or the Play Store, press 2. AdWords, 3. Google Earth, Maps, or My Business, press 4. YouTube, 5. Or for anything else, okay. Usually, the best place to get help with YouTube is to the Online Help Center at youtube.com/support. Thanks for calling.
Huh. What a horrible company. Multi-billion-dollar company that can't get anyone to answer the phone. Let's try another way. Let's try this number. Let's see here. I already know how it is trying to contact them through email and chat. It's not helpful.
Hi, welcome to Google Ads.
Para
Google
español, oprima 2.
Hi, welcome to Google Ads. To get started, enter your 10-digit customer ID. If you don't have an account yet, press the star key.
Get human. Just the one I just called? Yeah, that's the number I just called. Let's try it one more time. Let's see if there's another option.
Hi, welcome to the Googleplex. We don't provide support here at our Mountain View campus. So if you're trying to reach support, you can find contact info for many of our support teams at google.com/support. In the meantime, I can give you some other options that might help. If you're calling because you can't get into your Gmail account, press 1. If it's for an Android device or the Play Store, press 2. AdWords, 3. Google Earth, Maps, or My Business, press 4. YouTube, 5. Or for anything else, press 6. Okay, since we've got a lot of different products and services, usually the best place to start for help is through our Online Help Center at google.com/support. There you'll find the right support options and contact info depending on the product you're calling about. That was google.com/support. Thanks for calling.
So pretty much they're just going to direct you to use the internet. I mean, this is why this company is just such a piece of shit. It's like they want to, censor the earth. They want to control all things, but they don't want to have a conversation about it. Total dictatorship. Let's see. Forget it. I'm just going to go on with the presentation. No one picked up the phone, so we're just going to put out the facts. Again, the last time I put out a video like this, they did give me a strike, which is a joke because there's nothing I'm about to do that violates the terms of service. But in the headlines, Jewish man shot multiple times outside Miami synagogue. The man was wounded in a drive-by shooting as he waited for services at Young Israel of Greater Miami, the synagogue said. And a little bit more of the reporting. A Jewish man was shot multiple times in a drive-by shooting outside a North Miami Beach synagogue on Sunday evening. That would be yesterday, July 28th. And in an attack the synagogue president called an act of cowardice. Joseph Lipschultz, 68, was shot 6 times. And they actually changed this paragraph since it was first shown to me this morning. It used to say that he was 68, but the police reported his age as 58. Here, just real quick. If you just do a web search, you can still get that to pull up. This is the Huffington Post article. This is the Yahoo article. Josef Lipschultz was shot 6 times, including 4 times in the leg. Just blah, blah, blah. He is 68 according to the Synagogue, but police listed his age as 58. We know what's up with 58. But get back to the article. He was shot 6 times. Where have I heard of 6 before in terms of Jewish tragedy? I know it's somewhere. Oh, the Holocaust. Including 4 times in a leg just after 6:30 p.m. Rabbinic Judaism equals 63. This wants to go by the Talmud. As he waited for services to begin at Young Israel of Greater Miami, Synagogue President Damon Salzman said, Lipschultz, whose Hebrew name is Yosef Noach ben Leah Zivia, I don't know how to say it, was reported in a stable condition after surgery. Well, that's great news. Now, in light of this man being shot in a drive-by shooting, isn't it strange that the name Josef Lipschultz equals 213 like drive-by shooting? Of course, I wrote about this pattern in my book of drive-by shootings. Not the first time. The most notable example in history is Tupac Shakur, who released his last studio album February 13th while alive, All Eyes on Me, 213, and then died September 13th, 213 days later. Isn't that nice? Drive-by shooting, again, 213. Tupac supposedly died from complications due to a drive-by shooting. And you know how the police reported the man as being 58 years old, that number that just shows up again and again and again? Tupac's full name, Tupac Amaru Shakur, was 58. Freemasonry's 58. Rosicrucian's 58. Secret Society's 58. Tupac Shakur is also 139 like Freemasonry. He died on 13/9, reportedly, September 13th. And North Miami Beach, I happen to notice, also sums to 139. I didn't even put it in here, but why not? North Miami Beach, 139. Go figure. What are the odds? They first reported he was 58 years old. See on North Miami Beach, 139, look at Freemasonry. 139, 58. Freemasonry based in the Old Testament, the Jewish section of the Bible. And YouTube, please, I'm not bullying. Please let me know where I can send my 213 shekels. I'd love to donate to this poor victim here. And I'd love to donate 213 shekels. Maybe I'll even get those ones with the Donald Trump head on one side and the third temple on the other. You know. Love to help out old Yosef here. Sure, those 6 bullet holes hurt an awful lot. Now, another strange thing is July 28, 2019 was a date with 74 numerology. English, Gematria, Jewish, Masonic, occult, they all sum to 74. Remember the last 2 synagogue shootings, one in Poway, San Diego, and or just outside San Diego, and then the Tree of Life shooting? San Diego, 74. The shooter at the Pittsburgh Tree of Life shooting was Robert Bowers, 74. It's strange how that number always shows up again and again and again. That Hitler note was pinned to the Children's Museum in Brooklyn, New York, 74. 74 days from Tisha B'Av, which has a lot to do with the Holocaust. And then earlier this year, the actor who played Hitler died 74 days from the anniversary of Hitler's actual death, where they never found his body. Great story from the history books. Just as believable as Jonah and the big fish. But all these coincidences, so strange. Notice they also put out the guy's Hebrew name, Yosef Noach ben, again, I can't pronounce it, but his Hebrew name, strange about that is it sums to 109. Shooting is also 109. He's the victim of a shooting. They called the place a North Miami Beach Synagogue, which sums to 118. Tisha B'Av's going to come in 2 weeks. It's going to fall on 11/8, 118. Isn't it strange? There's all eyes on Dome of the Rock for Tisha B'Av. Dome of the Rock's that 213 as well. just like drive-by shooting, just like Josef Lipschultz. And the name of the president of this synagogue, which the actual name is Young Israel of Greater Miami, which sums to 133. The name of the president is Damon Salzman, which sums to 133. And again, this whole practice of coding numbers into words is a Jewish thing. And you're supposed to sync up words and give them the same numerical value if they have a relationship with each other, like the president of the synagogue. And by the way, him being the president, let's not forget that relationship. President's 133, you know. So good name for a president of a synagogue. Perfect name. Remember when they reported that Donald Trump was the 133rd richest man? Fox News made a big deal about his 133rd appearance on Fox News. And that was all when he was just starting to campaign for president. I said, way back when, I said, uh-oh, I think they're coding something. White House is also 133, just for the record. Government's also 133, just for the record. Donald Trump, the puppet. So anyway, old Yosef, it looks like he got the Tupac treatment. You know? Tupac also supposedly died in 96 for one more Freemason in code. Okay. And then also today we got the update. We got the update. We got the shooter at the Garlic Festival. And they came out and said he was 19-year-old. Again, 19, the number of chaos. The headlines yesterday were all about chaos at the Garlic Festival. A 19-year-old named Santino William Legan, however you pronounce it. Santino William Legan. And what's funny about that is, again, he's 19. All the headlines about chaos yesterday. Again, like I said last year, 2019 would be the year of chaos headlines, and it sure has been. But look at his name. Sums to 210. And this news comes out today, July 29th, the 210th day of the year. They still can't find the Brooklyn shooter, but they found old Santino. And something else I talked about yesterday, 84. One of the first people to speak out was Kamala Harris. You know, she had her press release right away, and it was 84 days from her birthday. Of course, Masonry's 84, Jesuits 84, Zionism's 84. People she serves, and that's one of the other numbers coded right into his name, that 84. 303, not too far off from 33. Please call sign. So there's other things coded in his name that matter as well. But on the 210th day of the year, just using the alphabetic order, his name's 210. And they always love to give you that 3-part shooter name. So if you've ever seen the film Conspiracy Theory, let me see, I can probably pull up my blog posts. If you've ever seen the film Conspiracy Theory, it makes a comment about what's up with the 3-part shooter names always. But check this out. That film released August 8th in history in 97. Mel Gibson's birthday that year was January 3rd. From his birthday to the release of the film was 218 days later. And notice how conspiracy theory equals 218. And the film released on 8/8, conspiracy theory 88. Guess why you want to know the ciphers? The 4 base ciphers, alphabetic order, forwards and backwards. So anyway, that movie, just like all Hollywood movies, done by the code. It's no secret who runs Hollywood. And while we're at it, you know what? Rich, who's not feeling well, he asked if I could call the Los Angeles Angels on a live stream about all the Tyler Skaggs rituals. And we'll try to do that too. We couldn't get through to Google. That was disappointing. Not surprising, but just wanted to show how it's pretty much impossible to contact Google. They were actually better 2 years ago because they used to pick up the phone. So in the time of their increased censorship, they've made it impossible to contact them, and you can understand why. I'm sure they have a lot of people calling that are not happy. You know, Shows that it's a, what did they say here? An act of cowardice. Yeah. Phrase fits with what I'm talking about too. So let me see. Do the Los Angeles Angels have a phone number that they can be reached at? Los Angeles Angels phone number. That's to order tickets. Let's see. Current wait 5 minutes. Customer service. This might just be for tickets. That is for tickets. I don't want to call for tickets. Let's see. Order tickets, no. Yeah, I don't know if they even actually have a number to contact. You know, I don't think most sports teams can actually be contacted for anything other than tickets. So I might not be able to do this. Let's see. Yeah, the only number that's popping up. All right, hold on. What's this one? All right, let me try out this number here, see what happens. But first, I got to get up my information in case I do get the right person on the phone. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Let's see if this number works here.
This is Chris Ward, Angels Baseball. Sorry I couldn't make it to the phone. If you leave me your name, number, and a message, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks. Bye. Hey,
Chris, my name's Zach. Got a couple questions. I would love if you can get back to me. My number is 509-731-0567. Again, 509-731-0567. It's about that tribute game you had July 12th for Tyler Skaggs, where they laid the number 45 jerseys out all over the pitcher's mound. Or it might have been maybe somewhere near home plate. But anyway, you put out all the jerseys somewhere on the field, somewhere in the infield. And it's real interesting that Skaggs wore the number 45. That's a special number to baseball. Of course, baseball is a game of 9 innings. If you add 1 through 9 together, it equals 45. in the language of Gematria, the language you might be familiar with, it's the language that all the games are rigged by. The name Tyler Skaggs equals 45. There's so many players who wear the jersey that corresponds with their name. Tyler Skaggs is 45. Major League's 45. When you write out the word 13, it sums to 45 in Gematria, just like how you won the game.
Recording has stopped. You have reached the recording limit.
Ugh. Their voicemail's not like the NHL one where it gives you 5 minutes. But anyway, for people who didn't see my work on Tyler Skaggs, you can go back and check it out. It was a real sick joke. We talked about the ritualistic death, how it was synced up with the death of the last Angels pitcher. And he didn't die on July 1st by accident, just like how the Orioles won 3 out of 4 games. So the Orioles just won 3 out of 4 against the Angels in the latest series. So the Angels went 1-3 against the Orioles, like LA's 13, just like how they won this game 13-0. But when the Orioles ended that series, they had the manager picked up his 71st career loss against the Angels by winning 3 out of 4. Again, LA Angels 71, Tyler Skaggs dead on July 1st, and the last Angels pitcher to pitch, or the last Angels pitcher to died the year Skaggs was drafted, and his name was Adenhart. His name summed to 71 as well. But also about Skaggs, July 13th, the day he was born, to July 1st, the day he died was 353 days later, which is the 71st prime number. And again, he died on 7-1. And then, of course, in the tribute game to him, it was the first combined no-hitter in the state of California in MLB history since the actual day he was born, July 13th. Forget what year he was born. 1992, something like that. So the last Angels pitcher to die, Nicholas Adenhart, 71. Adenhart, 71. He died the same year that Skaggs was drafted to Major League Baseball. Just shows you how sick all this stuff is. But understand, these rituals, they go beyond the rigging of the games, as I've always said. They also connect to the ritualistic deaths, the contrived propaganda news stories. And that's just how it is. You know, this code is used endlessly. Remember, the day that Seattle lost to the Angels in the rigged game, the news story that morning is that there was a 4.6 magnitude earthquake in Seattle. A 4.6. My camera froze. 4.6. And I guarantee you that was a bogus bullshit number put out, because later that day, no hitter equaled 46. The Seattle Mariners got no hit by the Angels in the rigged game. The Angels improved to 46 in 46 in the season, 46 wins and losses. LA Angels is also 46. Sacrifice is 46. Again, that's why you got to know all the ciphers. So, and again, for people who don't know, look at baseball, the word, when you write it out in the 4-base ciphers. With the alphabetic order, 54, like 54 outs in a game. 18, like how many half innings there are in a game. Think about Roger Maris hitting 61 home runs in 1961. 61's the 18th prime number. Baseball, 162 in reverse, like how many games there are in a season. And then 54 again. Look at Major League Baseball. 162 with the alphabetic order. How many games there are in a season. The other year on June 3rd. June 3rd is a special day. It's the 154th day of the year. There used to be 154 games in the season. On June 3rd, 2 years ago, June 3rd, 2017, you had the first no-hitter of the season, and you had a record amount of grand slams in a single day, 154th day of the year. And then the other year on November 7th, you had November 7th, by the way, leaves 54 days left in the year. You had the death of Roy Halladay. And then you also got 351, which is the 26th triangular number. Big number in this past year's rigged Super Bowl. Number 26 scored the only touchdown in the game 351 days after his birthday to help the AFC get its 26th Super Bowl win. That was Patriots over Rams by the numbers, a Super Bowl we called before the season even began. Perfectly. But 26, special number. Games 26, ball games 26. The first chapter of my book's about 26. So anyway, baseball Gematria is a really great example of the significance of the ciphers. And you know, every day you use this language, you'll just say, what are the odds? What are the odds? You'll say it every single day. What are the odds of this? What are the odds of that? By the way, if you've seen the movie about Tupac called All Eyes on Me, it starts with his mom, the Black Panther. Black Panther's also 213. So is Black History Month. It's not an accident. It's not. And then the album that came out after his death was Machiavelli, the play on words. Or it was Machiavelli, a play on Machiavelli, who faked his death, by the way. And do you recall that when they announced the death of his mother, the headline came out on the real Machiavelli's birthday? Got to be one hardcore coincidence theorist to dismiss all this stuff. So let me grab the phone. It keeps ringing. It's in the background charging. 1 second. I'm going to grab the phone. All right. If you're trying to call in, you can call back. I got the phone now. I didn't have it before, but it's been buzzing the whole time. So, caller.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, dear. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you okay.
Okay. Hi, dear. This is Legan from Hawaii, but I'm over in Vegas right now.
Okay.
Okay, I've got you on the phone. I'm sorry I'm going to be off topic. I've always been trying to talk to you on politics days, and here we're on a sport day. So can I concede that I agree with you, all that you're saying about Gematria and its impact on sport and also on politics?
Well, it's not a sports day. I didn't start off with sports, but somebody asked if I would do something on the live stream, but I don't think it's possible. So
I'm sorry?
this isn't a sports day. You must have tuned in late. I started off by talking about the latest bullshit headlines out of Miami about some supposed Jewish guy getting shot in a drive-by shooting who has the same name as drive-by shooting. And then I talked about the latest bullshit headline from the Garlic Festival shooting, giving us the name of the shooter today, whose name corresponds with the day of the year. His name equals 210. It's the 210th day of the year. So that's where we started. Anyway, what is it that you wanted to call about?
Well, I'm glad it came in late, and I apologize for that. And I apologize for missing some other shows also. I'm kind of a late comer to your show, but I am very, very interested in understanding. Okay, let me start again. I agree with you in that you have proven your point about Gematria and how politics uses all of it, and that its roots are in Freemasonry. And that Trump is using it also. And every day a few more things come out about President Trump, or that I'll see future shows, and you're speaking about Trump, and I'm thinking, oh my God, just because I'm definitely on the side of supporting Trump. So
if you would have tuned into me in 2015, you really wouldn't have liked me, because I was explaining that the only people who will ever go for Trump are the dumbest people in the world. But I also say that about all the people who follow this entire political process. So
yeah, well, I appreciate that. Thanks for telling me one of the dumbest people in the world.
Well, I'm just going to be honest. I mean, I don't know how anybody could ever supported this goon. He's just a disgusting human being, and especially women. I just anytime I hear women call in and say that they support him, I just assume those are the kind of women who like to be with men that beat them up and grab them by the pussy and that type of thing. I mean, how can a woman like Donald Trump?
Okay, well, women have been hearing that kind of talk in offices forever. So the fact that he talks like that makes him an asshole.
No, that's not true. It's never been this way. 10 years ago, Howard Dean couldn't even go Yahoo. He couldn't even go Yahoo. You remember that? He was the leading Democratic candidate, and then he went Yahoo, and then the news made a big deal about how unpresidential that was. And the next thing you know, he was rock bottom in the polls. Flash forward to 2015-16, you can be Donald Trump. You can attack every group of people. It was just such an obvious ploy of what they were doing. There'd never been anything like it. First of all, the media had never focused on any fucking person in the history of the goddamn world as much as Donald Trump. It was just so obvious to see what a contrived bullshit disaster it was. And I called it out perfectly from the beginning. The media gave every ounce of attention in the world to Donald Trump. It didn't even matter who the sitting president was of any country. If anything happened in the world, we heard from what Donald Trump had to say about it before even the sitting president at the time. The media just made Donald Trump the 100% focus for, and it's been that way the entire time. I mean, look at what the headlines are every morning. Donald Trump's Twitter. What's the latest thing Donald Trump tweet? It's just so obvious that they put all the attention on this polarizing figure just to piss people off, because some people liked him, who I described as the dumbest, most sleaziest, worthless white trash Americans and other people in the world, which is who his demographic is, and even came out and said that. He said, I like dumb people. And then the people who do oppose him are the same types of people who don't see what a puppet show it is and still believe in the political process. But it's just so obviously contrived. And then especially when you know this code, you can see how every single day he's a puppet on strings. And I'm not sure that Donald Trump uses Gematria. He did receive a Tree of Life Kabbalah Award in 1983. But, he's a puppet on strings is what he is. And he's likely a mind control victim, just like so many other people to be in that office. Again, him, Clinton, and George W. Bush were all born weeks apart from each other. And think about that. That's 3 of the last 4 presidents for the last 20 years.
And you're saying that he was exposed to it because of his relatives before him who allowed his exposure, and that they had control of him all of this time?
It's obvious his family's something, right? His uncle, he's got powerful family. They're part of the cabal. And that's just the other thing, too. I mean, aren't people sick of these rich tyrants ruling over us? Like, I don't understand why so many poor, dumb Americans always get behind these rich silver spoon types and think they're going to be something different.
Poor, dumb Americans. Okay, so my question comes in that let me ask my question this way. Could it be that he is using their message and his knowledge because he came up in that he could be using their playing style, their game, through Gematria to further his
not
agenda?
Possible. Impossible. There's nothing different about him than any other person who came before him. He's doing all the same stuff they always do. I mean, what could you possibly say is different? Is he down on his knees for Israel? Okay, check. Down on his knees for Israel, just like every president before him. What's different there? Does he go to the Vatican by the numbers? Does he associate with the Pope by the numbers? Yes, he does. Check. What's different there? Nothing. Is it news by the numbers every day with him? Check. There's nothing different about this. I'm getting so sick of these people saying, maybe he's using the code to fight the new... I mean, how's he fighting the New World Order? Well, what is it? He's totally... Okay, he's done what every administration does. Tailors the tax code even more and more for the rich, for the banks, for the corporations. Oh, that's fucking great for the people. Right,
I agree with you.
What is he doing? He's not doing anything. His whole fucking administration's the swamp. It's all the people from the last presidential administrations. I don't know how anyone is under any kind of illusion that Trump is anything different. He's a fucking disgrace.
So are you telling me that they are cleaning out their own house then and using Trump to make it look like he's doing the work? I mean, they're turning their own people over. Arrests are going to be happening. Things are crumbling on that side.
Who? Where? That's the illusion.
Okay, so if it doesn't happen, look at all the people that were fired out of the FBI and the whole big shakeup there.
And who replaced them?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, there's nothing going on. There's nothing going on.
So we're just saying that all we're doing then is we're just shuffling the pieces around. There's no improvement. There's nothing like that. It's just a big shuffle. Improvement?
It's drastically worse. This is probably the worst president in the history of the United States right now. I don't know where this illusion is that anything... See, I hate listening to people talk. Look how great the economy is. These are the same fucking idiots who, when the economy's doing well, they'll say, oh, well, that's only because it takes 20 years for the economy to be impacted by the president. But people are just so full of shit. Trump has not done a single fucking thing for anybody. And I just get sick of listening to him talk. He always says, unemployment's at the all-time lowest for black people. Where's he even getting these fucking stats from? Unemployment's a bullshit stat. They change the way unemployment's calculated every fucking year. And the more and more people that aren't looking for work, they become part of they disappear from the number. If you have a whole bunch of people who are just used to not being in work, they get erased from the number, and then the unemployment percentage decreases. And who's doing well? I mean, most people are working like part-time jobs with no benefits. That is what the average American's doing right now. They have no benefits. They're working 2-3 jobs. They're probably working 60 hours a week and making jack shit. This isn't a good economy for anybody, except for the super rich, the investor class who don't work and who just benefit off the stock market. And why is the stock market doing so well? because people are making jack shit, the slave race. So it's just such bullshit. And I'm just so sick of listening to all the dumb Trump supporters and their idiotic comments. And I know they talk out of their ass. They're just like Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity, when George W. Bush was the president, he'd always say, anyone who criticizes the president isn't a patriot. They're not an American. They should leave the country. Then for 8 fucking years under Obama, what's he do? He shits on Obama every single day. This is the same motherfucker who for 8 years made that comment about anybody who criticizes Bush. And understand, I don't care about either side of the political aisle. I can't stand any of these people. But the point I'm making is these fucking idiots don't stand for anything. They just talk bullshit. They just come up with whatever deluded, insane idea to support their worldview that doesn't make any sense. And I know you hear what I'm saying.
If over the next year we start seeing massive arrests
of who?
At the top of that,
of who?
Are we talking about them changing the regime? They're eliminating some of their dead wood and they're bringing in new voices.
Who's getting arrested? Who's getting arrested? These puppets that came out of nowhere? Michael Cohen, Paul Manafort, these studio actors? Who are we talking about?
He's arrested now. He's working from the bottom up.
Who?
So you don't think that that's happening? You don't think that they're cleaning that all out? If that happened, then we started seeing a bunch of arrests happening at the top echelon.
Who's getting arrested?
Okay, let's say the bottom rung would be like Lisa Page, Stroke, and then we have McCabe and Comey and that crowd, and Loretta Lynch and that whole lot because of what the stunts they pulled.
Just listen to the names you're saying. Just listen to the names you're saying. Loretta Lynch. I mean, are people this blind? When Loretta Lynch becomes the first female black attorney general of the black president, doesn't something make you stop and go, wait a minute, her name is Lynch? Her name is Lynch? You don't see it? James Comey versus the comb-over Donald Trump. You don't see it? These people are nobody. These people are stooge actors, no different than Trump. For every year, I've documented every story about all this shit. So you're talking to somebody who's been paying attention nonstop for 6 years straight. Every single thing that I've shown every single day, I've shown about Loretta Lynch, James Comey. All of this stuff is garbage. It doesn't mean anything. You live in a prison police state. People are arrested every single day. If people start getting arrested, that's going to be a sign that things are getting better. I mean, I don't even know where you're coming from with this stuff.
No, I'm saying that if that starts to happen, are you telling me that the cabal is simply shifting roles, like they're taking out
these people you're naming? These people you're naming are not the cabal. These are the puppets on the stage.
They're the workers of the cabal, are they not? They're in support of. They work for the cabal.
They got endless workers because they control the money. Here, have a big fat salary. Now you can be my latest puppet. They got endless puppets.
Okay.
Nothing's going to change. Nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to change until this federal government is destroyed. Nothing will change.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Nothing. If you keep thinking that some stooge selected candidate like Trump or Obama or George W. or Bill Clinton or whatever, or any of these stooges they got up on the Democratic Party right now, if you think any of them are going to bring about any change, I mean, it's a delusion. Nothing is going to change until this federal government is destroyed. And it sure as shit isn't going to be somebody like Donald Trump who is enslaved to Israel and the banker tyrants. I mean, he is the establishment.
And when we're talking about Israel, are we talking about the Mossad and some bad characters within their Mossad, or are we talking about all the way up to the top leadership?
We're talking about the entire state of Israel. It should not even exist. It's all part of this fraudulent scheme. Watch the video I put out yesterday. I talked about Israel and the Balfour Declaration. That was all planned from the time of World War I.
Okay, I will do that. And I also wondered if because you're frustrated about repeating yourself, and I apologize. If you want to tell me a few of the shows that I should probably watch to be better prepared next time I chat with you, I'll do that. If you want to recommend a couple of them to me, you've got a lot of hours there, and I travel a lot, so I'll watch as many as I can.
Yeah, just watch the one I put out last night. That should.
Okay.
Yeah, here, I know what video you should watch. I just put it out a couple days ago. Watch the video of Donald Trump in the Supreme Court freeing up $2.5 billion for his border Berlin Wall.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, so what? You just think that's all a coincidence?
No. There's no coincidence, and I totally agree. It's all happening by the numbers. What I'm saying is, it seems to me that if he himself isn't doing it, then those who head the cabal, who are moving all these chess pieces, that they are changing out certain people and bringing in new people. It just seems like there's a big change, because look at what's going on. There's all kinds of stuff going on behind the scenes, and we're waiting to hear about so many arrests that are about to happen and blah blah. Like, let's say that happens over the course of the next year. But if what you're telling me is that all they're really doing is replacing them with somebody else that they're in control of.
Of course they are. Nothing's changing.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah,
society's moving in one direction.
Okay.
More and more wealth is going from the poor and middle class to the super wealthy. That's why we have the greatest wealth disparity in the history of the world right now. And Donald Trump and his tax policies are helping accelerate that even more. And that's just been going on ever since the time of Reagan. And then the other thing that's happening is the police surveillance state's getting bigger and bigger. And, if I could say anything good about Trump, it's that he's going after Obamacare. But I understand that's all part of the puppet show. And
why would they be doing so much damage? Why is he chasing down Clinton so hard? Why are they going after Clinton?
Again, here we go. So here we go.
Why are they turning over everything in Saudi Arabia?
Who cares about the Clintons? The Clintons are puppets. This is like everybody's caught up in the same thing. Clinton. These people don't even have any bloodline to the name Clinton. Bill Clinton's born Bill Blythe. Hillary Clinton's only Clinton through Bill. The Clintons, the Clinton Foundation isn't even those two puppets. It's the Clinton political dynasty, that family still exists, that have controlled New York from the beginning of this nation. Those are who the Clintons are. Nobody even talks about the real Clintons. They talk about the two puppet Clintons. That's why those two idiots came dressed in purple to concede to Donald Trump in the rigged election, because purple equals 88 like Trump. It's not an accident. Just like how Elizabeth Warren's always in purple on TV talking about Trump. It's all a show.
Or Nadler with the purple tie the other night. Yeah.
It's all a show. Yeah. No, everyone talking about Bill and Hillary Clinton, it just makes me pull my hair out. I don't even have any hair to pull out.
No. I'm way above them. I'm going, past Obama and way above those guys. I'm trying to figure out, what is the goal at the top of the heap of the cabal? What is their goal? Just to move things around, keep the anarchy going?
We don't live in anarchy. No. Anarchy means no government.
Keep the chaos going, I should say.
Yeah, we don't live in anarchy. Anarchy is what we need. We're living in their end game. This is their end game, to control humanity, to get a population that will not fight back against anything, to just go along with this New World Order cabal, to get down on our knees, to not fight back, to pay taxes, to be enslaved, to be lied to be poisoned. I mean, that's this. We're living in the end game. We got to this point because people went along with it for so long.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So,
and you think Trump is just there, just adding to it? For example, they're saying that in the global economy, that America is the military arm, and he's building up the military. Is that what you're saying?
Of course he is. Of course he is.
For that purpose.
They're all going to come in and do the same thing. Look at what every president's done. They continue to increase spending for military. It just never ends. Well, we spend more.
I'm sorry. Do you have a Gematria numbers on October 1st in Vegas? I was front row center for that one.
You were there?
Yeah.
Well,
I watched it right out of my living room.
For all of that year before it even happened, I kept telling people to circle that weekend because we were going to see the biggest false flag since 9/11, and it was because of the way the date lined up with Yom Kippur that year, which has to do, that's the Jewish Day of Atonement for your sins. So then, sure enough, the Sin City shooting happens, and with regards to happening on October 1st, 101. It happened during the Jason Aldean concert. J is the 10th letter, A is the first, his initials, 10-1. It was a casino-related shooting. Casino equals 101, so does Mandalay Bay Casino also equals 101, so does assassin. In the media, they put out the picture with the shooter with a 13 on his neck, but it wasn't really there. But they put out some images with that. If you add 1 through 13 together, it equals 91, like how it was the Route 91 Harvest Festival. And October 1st also leaves 91 days left in the year. And of course, in Vegas, there's a street named after Hugh Hefner. And Hugh Hefner had just died a few days before that at age 91, which no doubt was part of the ritual. And that Jason Aldean, he had a music video. I forget what the name of the song was, but God, I have to go back and look at my own work. It's all in my book. But
Yeah, it's been a while. Sorry. Yeah.
yeah, he has some music video driving through Vegas, and there's something in that music video that connects too.
Oh.
He also had the tattoo of the eclipsed sun on his arm. And if I remember right, from the date of the eclipse to the shooting was 41 days later, which is the 13th prime. So there was a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, that was just another contrived ritual with the same numbers coded all over it. They said 58 dead. And if I remember right, it was 58 days from the governor's birthday, who had an August 5th birthday, 5/8. If it wasn't his birthday, it was the sheriff's birthday, who was the spokesperson. One of those two. But yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. Told people all year to circle that weekend. I said, just watch. They'll have something big that weekend. Be all about Yom Kippur. So.
All right, I'll dig back on that. And then on the 9th of Av, see, when you quote Jewish dates, I think that it is it imperils the Jewish community, that it's not like an American thing. That, in other words, when something happens like on the 9th of Av, that it's something that might be detrimental to Israel, not necessarily to America or the world at large.
Right. I think if anything is, if there's one place something's likely to go down, it likely is in Israel. So
it's going to be the 9th of Av.
But anything that happens in Israel is related to the U.S. They're synonymous.
Yeah, that's really true. One's not tied without the other. Okay. All right, I got more research to do. You've given me a lot of food for thought. I'm going to go back and look at your stuff for October just to see if it helps me answer some more questions out here. Gosh, one of the neighbors is the guy that was supposed to do all the shooting. He had a house not so far from here.
So, do you know if people actually really got shot there? That's the question I still have.
Yes, we had dinner with one of the a friend of ours is a doctor. He talked about how they were lined up on the hall, and they literally were writing on their foreheads because there wasn't enough time to actually pull up a chart and fill out a chart in front of all these beds that were down the hall. And they were literally putting like temperature and all the their vitals up on their foreheads, and they were triaging all the way down the hall as well as out in the parking lot. It was a bloody mess. Like one of the janitors talked about how he would swab the bloody floor all the way down that long hall, turn around, and have to swab it again from all the blood coming out. It was a mess. It was a true mess. So it's so bizarre to me because I know victims, and we know about the mess, and then I saw the fake victims going down too. What in the heck was going on there? We saw the army truck where they were all getting their makeup done to look like victims. We saw where the shooting started, and they were all standing around like la-di-da. Hey, lay down and act like somebody shooting a gun or something. You know what I mean? That was fake. So we saw things that were real. We saw things that were fake, and then we saw people getting told afterward too, because of they were starting to get together on social media and say, well, wait a minute, the police said to say X and Y, and we saw something different, and things like that. There was one shooter. He probably never shot a single shot. The glass was supposed to be broken out in the window. I'm telling you, I'm looking at the Mandalay, and the glass was not broken out until after midnight. Hold on, it wasn't broken. The second one was broken, not the main one.
Sure.
There was like 1,100 shots on the floor. There were 30,000 shots. I mean, come on. Things happen. I looked from high. I saw the FBI the day after cleaning up the parking lot and marking things and then painting over that and stuff. Oh my gosh, we saw it. What in the heck was all that? Why was there extra FBI in one of the hotels? What does this have to do with Saudi Arabia and Bin Salman being up on the Four Seasons above there? Just a few floors above. Was he here with his brother? Did you know he was the American ambassador for Saudi Arabia? Were they here? Where were they taking us? What happened over there at Tropicana? Who did the shooting in the Bellagio? How come they found bullets over there in Paris? In the bathroom? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the heck? Nobody saw one person. There were several people shooting. Lots of people were shooting.
Right.
Gosh. And so we don't have any straight answers is what I'm saying. And that was the day I said, let's look into this. And I kind of, been kind of sleuthing along with that, and then found you when I found you in Gematria. I found one of your YouTubes, and I've been following you in and out from time to time, and I can't get away from it. You're right. You're right. What I don't understand is why. Why are they doing it? Your thing is to create chaos. At the
Kabbalah, because Kabbalah is why they're doing it. Because they're playing God. This is the Kabbalistic belief that this is how God created the world and God manages the world with letters and numbers. So this is why they do this every day. So, yeah, that's why the term the Cabal comes from. The Cabal. So, by the way, I looked up the Jason Aldean music video real quick on my blog. The music video where he's driving through Vegas, and there's a few other things to it.
Yes.
The song's called When She Says Baby. And what's interesting about that is he was born February 28th, which is the 59th day of the year. The name Jason equals 59. When She Says Baby equals 59. They did at one point report that the death toll was 59 people, but then they ended up dropping it back down to 58 if you go back and look. And Freemasonry does some to 58 and 59. But yeah, there's something in this music video. Everything. Oh, that's what it is. They put up these lyrics on the screen while he's driving through Vegas, and it says, "Everything gonna be all right. Just lay down by my side." And they reported that a lot of people just hit the ground and were laying down at the concert while the shots were fired off. So it's curious about how they put those letters, those words in big bold print as he's driving through Vegas in that part of the music video.
Right. Oh wow. God. I gotta be honest, in all the research I've done, I've never verified how many were dead, but we certainly saw how many were wounded.
Well, I tracked it the whole way. At first they said 58, then they took it up to 59. I'm showing the headlines on the screen, but if you look now, they ended up dropping it back down to 58. So, and When She Says Baby actually debuted at number 58 on the U.S. Billboard Country Airplay chart. So.
Yeah, but who knows what the real number is? I can't independently verify it. I know what I saw. I definitely saw the shooting, all the mess. I saw that.
Sure.
But I cannot verify that. I also saw all the actors. And this big flight, I saw that they were looking for them in L.A. All my friends who were performers, and they showed the flyers and how they were looking for people to come over and do this thing.
Right.
So anyway, that just made me go, what's going on? And that's where, that's my red pill, that's my light bulb. And so then I found you, and then I'm learning all this, and then I'm just trying to say, what's the end game here?
Well, yeah, I think you're living in the end game right now. So, and I'd say all it can go from here is just, even further control than they already have, which would be all digital currency. They're trying to establish that 5G, and I'm sure the technology will just get even more and more sophisticated with time. But from what I understand about 5G is it'll allow them to set up essentially surveillance anywhere. So, yeah, I mean,
I want to thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you talked to your audience and giving me a chance to kind of, say this is kind of what my experience is, and I'm trying to understand this better and better. And I apologize, I don't have your book yet. I will work on that today.
Well, you don't have to apologize. Why don't you send me an email? I'll send you a free copy for being a good sport, because I was a real ass to you at the beginning, because I'm just so sick of anybody who ever supported Trump. But yeah, email me at gematriaeffectnews@gmail.com and I'll send you a copy. Just say, hey, I called in earlier and you said you were an asshole. You were right. I'll know who it is. So.
Fair enough.
All right.
As long as eventually you listened and I got to say what I had to say. I know I'm coming in at a remedial level that you have moved beyond this point, but I wanted to at least, I needed to hear more about this. I don't know that I have a whole lot more answers, and that's why I think I need your book, and I think I need to dive into this a little bit deeper than I have.
Yeah, the book will help. All right.
Well, I appreciate the book. I think I'd like to make a donation for those who maybe can't afford the book, and then maybe you can pass out a couple more in my name.
Okay, you got it.
Fair enough. I'll email you. Thanks again for your time. Appreciate it very much.
Right. Take care. Thanks. Okay. So yeah, just that's probably the most asked question. People are always still talking about the Vegas shooting, and my first channel with all the warnings for this date was deleted June 28th, 2017. So about 3 months before the shooting. And by the time the shooting came around, I was probably already on my 5th or 6th channel. And I think for covering the shooting, I had a channel deleted. Anyway, I'm on channel 18 now. So, caller.
Hey, what's going on, Group Seeker?
What's up?
Hey, not much, man. It's Dimitri Barros. I actually called on your last live stream that you had about a day ago. But this information is basically for the lady that just called. She was wondering about more information about Kabbalah. Mark Passio actually just put out a video last night about the Kabbalah and the tarot. So if you're looking for more information about that, I suggest you go ahead and go watch that video. And anybody else that's interested about learning about Kabbalah and the tarot and how it applies in the everyday world, I suggest you go watch that video. Another point to kind of reiterate kind of what you were saying about playing God in this world. Well, it's very interesting because when you align the tarot and the tree of life of Kabbalah, the person that sits at the top of the tree is the magician, right? And the magician embodies self-empowerment and the completion of oneself. So essentially, he is God, or he is the embodiment of God. And that's exactly what's going on here in our everyday world, is that we have rich people, we have people who are part of the cabal. And for those who don't know what the cabal is a group of members who practice Kabbalah. And they do play God over the society. And the way it works is by separation, by dividing people. It's as Mark Passio refers to as the Hegelian dialectic. If you want to separate people and you want to have things contrived into your power, you create chaos, as the motto of the Scottish Rite: Abdo out of chaos, or order out of chaos. And it works to their favor. And the reason why we fall into it is because we don't know about Gematria. We don't know about the Kabbalah. We don't know anything about the Book of Formations and what the Jewish people study, because most of us aren't Jewish. Right? Most of us aren't going to have that information to obtain, nor do most of us have a place to start and begin with.
Isn't that the most interesting thing about Mark Passio? That he never mentions that part. But
well, yeah, it is very interesting. I mean, I've been watching Mark Passio for the last few years now. I started all his videos from What Is Happening on Earth, episode number 1, all the way up to 216 or 217, whatever the last one is. But it is very interesting that he doesn't mention that.
And I saw his presentation you're talking about yesterday, and he actually, in part of it, went on a little rant, and he pretty much gave Jewish people a pass while going after the Christians. And I thought, yeah, so I like Mark Passio a lot, but that's the one part about him where I'm just like, what? He also made some comment the other week in one of his shows about how he hasn't had his channel taken down, and I'm like, but he didn't. I think maybe part of the reason is because he knows that might be what gets his channel taken down, but he's always talking about how cowardly people are and stuff, and how they're not willing to face the truth. But that's the one big glaring hole in Mark Passio to me, that he won't say the obvious, even when giving a presentation on Kabbalah and tarot. So anyway, go ahead.
I mean, that's an interesting point too. Mark Passio is a very, very smart guy. He makes his living based on donations and gifts. So in a way, it's tax evasion. But going back to your point though, everything is owned by the Jewish people. I'm not saying that every single person that is Jewish is bad, but the people who are owners in this country are Jewish people. And when in the start of time, Jewish people were the only people who were able to trade money, to hold money, to loan out money. It states that there's nothing against that in the Torah. Every other religion forbid that. That's why they were able to become the world's first bankers. When America needs money and needs all these things, who do they go to? They go to the Jewish people. Right? There's always been that connection, even during World War II, during World War I. IBM, the leading company of computers, created the computer and sent them and sold it to the Nazis in order to create a list of the people that they were lining up for execution. Those numbers that people have on their wrist and on their arms was created by a computer that was created by IBM. And it's been like this for the day America was born. America has been bought and paid for a long time ago. Even the first presidents were Masonic presidents, and they were heavily students of Kabbalah, especially at that time, because there was no TV, no phones, no distractions. So all they had was reading. And this is how they obtain that information. And this is why most of the presidents are Masonics or Masons. And those who aren't Masons or aren't part of this group of masonry, they are also okay with making sacrifices and making certain decisions and being a puppet. The reason why is because of the power associated that comes with it. You know, a lot of times they owe people favors, they get in business with people, or their family has been indebted to these people, and so this is the repayment. You know, to be made a mock of. You know, to make a mockery. The whole president, the whole system of government is an illusion. It's, you know, you have the ability to vote, right? It gives you the illusion of that you're participating in the system when you have no say. You know, it's either you have all your freedom or you have no freedom at all. Everything that's given to you in America is a privilege because it can be taken away by a simple act of Congress that you might have no say in it. So, you know, and the lady that just called, you know, she has a lot to learn about it. I feel like everybody has their own opinions and everybody's very opinionated when it comes to topics like this. But, and then you're still part of the problem if you're very highly opinionated when you don't know information. And the reason why is because you have to look at information like this with an open mind. You have to be a free thinker in order to delve into the information and apply it into your life. You have to remove the things that were initially taught to you, told to you, and the things that you believe, because everything else is a lie, it's false. And the average American goes through their day in life oblivious to these things, and that's why it continues to work, because the person who is oblivious doesn't know the first thing to change, you know. But you know, Zach, you do great work. You know, don't stop doing the work, and you know, things will pay off. You know, it's gonna be a long time before things change, and quite frankly, I don't believe things will change. I feel like America is on a collapse, but it's on a structured collapse, and it's made to be collapsed in order to start a new world order. You know, nothing can be started. Nothing can be started until everything is completely abolished. You know, and the way that they're doing that is by making systematic failures, making sure that Planned Parenthood doesn't work, making sure that the education doesn't work. So that way they can scratch everything and say, you see, the old system we had doesn't work. We need something new. And this is our policy. This is going to be new. You know, it's slowly starting to phase things out, slowly and slowly and slowly. So that way, by the time our kids and the next generation grows up, everything else has already changed, you know, and they're even more powerful.
Right. Yeah. You make a lot of great points.
Oh, and last time I called, I told you I read your book, and that you made a lot of great points in your book regarding to Freemasonry, because I am a Mason. The number 47 is very, very significant. Not only because of that's where the compass sits on the Masonic logo, but it's what Euclid was trying to tell people, right? The number 47, it's the number of vibration, right? The tropics of the Earth, right? The Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. It's 47 degrees in between it. Right. It's the number of frequency. The number 4 being perfect square, being the perfect number. Right. 3, the magical number before the perfect number, the square. And then number 7, God's number. So when you put 4 and 7 together, you put God, you put the square, and you put the God, laying the foundation to be in line with God. Right. And then what you're doing is, why is it a compass? Is because a full circle, a full combination, a full 360, a full change, changing who you are in order to be like God. Right? That's why.
When you just brought the 3 into it, are you saying the difference between 4 and 7 is 3? Is that why you?
There's also 3, exactly. Also 3, the magic number.
Right.
So what are you doing, right? What are you doing in masonry? You're doing rituals. You're doing work, right? You're a part in masonry, right? You say you are a member of the craft, right? Now, what does it sound like? It sounds a lot like witchcraft, right? So what are you doing is you're taking yourself and you're trying to empower yourself theoretically, right? Theoretically, that's what they say to new members and stuff like that. But as you get higher into, there's only 3 degrees that you can go up to, and that's the Blue Lodge. The rest are all appended degrees, and those appended degrees have different things laid out in between them. Some of them have nothing to do with masonry, like the Shriners, but the rest, like the Scottish Rite, the York Rite, everything else, gives you more information and more things are available to you. However, you are also still continuously lied to. Like Albert Pike said, the initiate is purposely misled in order for him to be lost. You have to be lost, because when you're in this, you're a lost soul. This is why when you come into masonry, you are born again, right? And then after you go into the 2nd degree, you're looking upon yourself. So now you have been reborn. You're in the middle stage of your life. The last degree, they kill you. You're playing Hiram Abyss to be resurrected, like the story of Jesus Christ, right? So it's saying that you were nothing before, you were lost, and now you're found. You seek light. And this is the same purpose of Kabbalah. Now, Albert Pike even said Masonry gives all thanks to Kabbalah. And he said it for a specific reason, because as you get higher into the degrees, the more about Kabbalah you learn, but you don't even know you are learning it. You know, it takes a real studious person in order to study Kabbalah. You know, this is why Jewish people who are born into the Jewish religion study this from a young age. They read the Torah, they're reading the Kabbalah, they're reading all these different type of things because they start them off early, so that way when they get to our age, your age, these guys are top executives. They're bankers. They hold financial positions. They hold positions of power. Right? This is why, like you said before.
Hey, I just want to pause right there. So the guy, what's his name? Steve Mnuchin, however you say his name, the Treasury Secretary, on the day of the Great American Solar Eclipse, August 21st, 2017, what did he do that day? He became the first guy in forever to audit the gold at Fort Knox. And I said, look at the mockery. It's because people don't understand this old knowledge, like alchemy. The sun represents gold. So on the day that the sun's blacked out, he goes to Fort Knox to check on the gold. I mean, isn't that telling you exactly what's going on there?
Exactly. And exactly. That's why in alchemy, right, it says the chemist's stone, or the most precious stone sought after, right, which is gold. Right? And what is gold? The sun, the light, right? This is why in masonry it says, what do you seek most? The light, right?
Right.
It's all synonymous to each other. And yeah, Steve Mnuchin, he's a freaking multi-millionaire. He's paid, you know?
Well, he's a prime example of what you're talking about. Jewish kid. Well, he's not a Jewish kid anymore, but high banking positions. So CEO, yeah.
Yeah, man, it's real sickening. It's real sickening. You know, people will have everything contrived, convoluted, and with their definition, what they might think is happening is completely opposite from what is happening, and that's exactly what they want. They want people to have their own opinions formulated, so that way they can believe their opinions without doing the work. And the reason why it's called work is because it takes time. You actually have to do it. You have to apply it. And people don't want to do that. You know, they make America so that way you go to work 40, 60 hours. You come home, you're tired, you have kids. You don't have anything else to do but focus on your everyday stuff and your life. And that's it. Nothing else, nothing more.
And the direction of that is getting worse with time, because you go back, you know, a half a century, it used to be that one parent worked, which means one parent had more time to like manage the house. And you go back to that half-century time, you know, the average family was actually doing better financially with one adult working, plus the house was in better order. I mean, there's been in terms of not only are people doing worse financially, but homes are just doing worse in terms of family dynamics. And somewhat of a side topic, but people don't realize what happened when women entered the workforce. Essentially what it did is it cut the cost of labor in half. So all of a sudden now you could have two people for the price of one. So yeah.
Yep. And then not only does it cut the cost of labor, it ruins the family dynamic. Like you said, you know, you have all these kids growing up with abandonment issues. They end up to be crazy. They end up not knowing how to provide themselves in the world. Right. So the more people that you have like that, the more reliant they become on the government.
Right.
You know, and that's what it is. It's about being the crutch, making sure that the government is always there for you or being there for you. You know, because if you were self-sufficient, if you were smart, you saved your money, you didn't spend it on frivolous things, you actually read, you studied, and you applied it to your life, you wouldn't need anything. You don't need them. You would be against them because you see what they're doing. You know?
Indeed. So what's interesting is you're a Mason. You like Mark Passio. Mark Passio seems to speak in defense of Masonry a lot. I've heard him say multiple times that if you're blaming Masonry for what's going on in the world, you're a child. And he says there's a lot of other secret factions at work, and I have no doubt that there's other people and other secret factions at work. But it does look like Masonry does control a big piece of the pie. And
you know, it's interesting you said that because Masonry as a whole, right? And not the everyday Mason, right? Like I'm a Mason, so there's people in Masonic lodges, not only in my Masonic lodge, but other Masonic lodges across the country who do not teach Kabbalah.
Of course,
who do not teach, right?
Of course.
And what they teach what's it called? Basically, it's the Christian religion. They teach about catechisms. That's what it is. They teach catechism, right? Which is the story of the formation of Christianity, which is a whole different topic we can get into at a different time. But basically, they are not teaching Kabbalah. Right. It is a few select lodges in the world, right, that teach this stuff, right? And sometimes they don't even teach it correctly because that would allow the initiate to know more than what the teacher knows, right? The thing is about this, it's about the wielding knowledge. It's about how you apply the knowledge into the world. And this is what Kabbalah is, because it teaches you about the formation and that formation and about the four worlds. It teaches you about everything that is in depth and is hidden in a secret. So only a few know about it. And the few that do know about it are Masons. And the reason why they are Masons is because when you are a Mason, many doors open up to you, because you will go into business and you will see a lot of members in that organization. You will go to the local churches, your pastors, your doctors. This is why they have the children's hospital, the Shriners Children's Hospital. In order to be a Shriner, you must be a Mason. In order to work at that hospital, most of the doctors are Masons. Even the females that work at those hospitals that are assistants are part of the Order of the Eastern Star because their husbands are Masons. Everything is aligned with Masons. This is how colleges got started. Colleges were started in America because of Masons. Fraternities in colleges were started because of Masons. Not Masonry as a whole, but a few select lodges and a few select Masons. But like the quote says, it only takes a few. It only takes a few, right? And so it's. I don't want to put it on the notion that every Mason is part of this, because most Masons don't know.
Of course not. I would say a very small percentage are, but still at the top, who's behind so many of the sinister things that we talk about each day. There's a lot of influence coming from those who are Masons, is what I'm saying. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like In order to be a member of Skull and Bones, like George Bush and his father and John Kerry, you must be a Mason. You know,
they say that they actually say that George W. and Herbert Walker weren't Masons, but they're two of the only presidents that have their portraits up at the House of the Temple in D.C.
Oh
so.
yeah, no, they were definitely Masons, because the only way you can be a member of Skull and Bone is to be a Master Mason. You must be a Master Mason.
So that is the other thing, though. There's so much information out there denying certain people's Masonic affiliations. If you do a search on the web, you'll see all sorts of things that say the two Bushes aren't Masons. So
yes, because it will crush Masonry. Masonry in different jurisdictions and different states in the world has been on decline, and the reason why is because there hasn't been many new members coming in, because not everybody is studious, not everybody's reading, not everybody has these type of interests. Everybody's on their phone, you know. So what does it kind of leave? It kind of leaves a lineage. It's starting to phase out a lot of people, and the only people that are going to really be a part of it is people who have a bloodline in it. People like my father, my grandfather, my brother, like so on, and that would be a tight lineage. So that way, only the people that are worthy to learn this information will learn this information, because all this stuff comes back to the age of Hermes, right? If you read the Hermetical, or if you read the Kabbalion, right, it teaches you that, and in any age of mystical practice, it teaches you that, and only the adept people, only it's reserved for the adept. It's reserved, like Albert Pike said, it's reserved for the adept. It's reserved for the princes. It's reserved for the people who can afford it. Meaning, you have to be a known person. You have to be a likable person. You have to be a person that can be put in a position of power to learn these things. Right? You have to come from a certain background, have money, and this is what it is today. This is why the House of the Temple is in D.C. Right? This is why everything that has to do with Masonry is in D.C. Right, and in the District of Columbia, right? Columbia, Kalum, the dove. She was a goddess. You know, it's all about being a god or like a god.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, so.
Well, I appreciate you calling in again. Thanks for all the information and input.
Of course, man. You know, like me personally, I'm a fan of yours. I'm a fan of Mark Passio's. The reason why is because I'm not brainwashed, number one, and because you guys are speaking truth. Because of all the books that I've been reading, personally, that I found, and all the books that you mentioned, I've read, and they all come back to saying the same thing. You know, exactly what you preach. But like mainly P. Hall, for example. He wrote about Masonry before he was even a Mason. He went up to the third degree, but he put out his knowledge out there for everyone to read. And the people who truly understand it, right, are the people who become teachers of this. You don't have to be a Mason in order to understand this. You don't have to be a part of an organization to understand it. But if you do choose to understand it, then you must do the right thing with it and not be a part of a failing system, or a system that is purposely trying to ruin its people. When you look at European nations, sure, they might be all wacky and stuff like that, or you look at Canada, but at least they have healthcare for all. At least students and people can go to college for free, right? We need people here in America to go to work and learn things, right? But they can't do that because they don't have enough money. You have people who are dying because they can't get the health care that they need. You got people who can't afford insulin. It's so much shit that goes on because it's all about money. It's all about control. It's all about saying
exactly. The whole system is designed. Nothing. Exactly. The entire system we're living in is designed to be the way it is. They need this class of have-nots because a class of have-nots you can exploit. You can use them to go fight your needless wars. You can put them in your prison cells and use them as slave labor. And it's the only way you can also have a group of super wealthy people, which is exactly what they want here. And things are going more and more in that direction. And yeah, you're right on. I mean, a lot of people probably just heard what you said and they're like, oh, this guy sounds like a socialist. But no, I totally get what you're saying, man. I mean, so
Like, and I'm not a socialist. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican, nor am I independent. I'm not registered to vote. I don't want nothing to do with the voting system. And one, my voice doesn't even have a say in it because the outcome is already to their favor. Like I said earlier, you're able to vote because it's an illusion that you are a part of the system. And I don't want nothing to do with the system, so I don't vote.
How old are you?
Me? I'm about to be 23, Zach.
Oh, you're younger than me. You're a young guy. Okay, I never voted either, so I saw it was all a joke when I was 17. Okay. Well, you're well spoken for a 23-year-old. Good for you.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, man. Like, I'm all for gun carrying. I'm all for you do your thing. I'm gonna do my thing. And because at the end of the day, we all are reliant on each other. Like back in the day during hunter-gatherer seasons, people relied on trading. You know, you knew how to grow something, so I taught you how to grow it, or I gave it to you in an abundance, so that way you can live, you can eat. That was basic commerce. You know, before money was introduced, it was trading for basic needs. I'm all for that.
I agree.
You know?
I agree. That would be a lot more sensible system.
You know,
that's what we need to get back to.
People think there would be chaos or anarchy, right? There's only chaos and anarchy now because when it's a fight or flight system, right? Also known as base consciousness, the reptilian cortex of the mind, right? It's you do things in order to survive. That's why there's people who rob. That's why there's people who steal. There's people who kill because they feel threatened in order to live, to do things in order to make it through the next day. But if everything is in abundance, why do you have to steal when you can easily go out and get it? Or you can easily
Exactly. That's 100% correct. That's 100% correct. So.
But like you said, man, we're in a group of order followers. That's why the military's there. You know, you have people who jump as high as they can in order to please their staff sergeant, in order to please the person above them. You know, and you got all these kids. You know, that's why they like kids. They like kids that are coming out of high school because their brain isn't fully developed. They haven't had experiences in the world. You know. They come out and then boom, put them right in, and then now they're order followers. They don't question things. You know, this is why they end up getting jobs in the government, because in the government you need a top security clearance. And what happens when you get a top security clearance? You don't say nothing. You only do as told. You know, you've already been conditioned to be an order follower, and that's why it works.
Correct. Yeah, you're right on.
You know, but yeah, man. Get back to the podcast. I'm pretty sure there's other people that want to speak and whatnot. But yeah, keep it up, Zach. Good work.
All right, appreciate it, man. You take care.
Thank you.
All right, taking some long phone calls today. I've been on here longer than I planned to be on here. I think I am. Oh, well, we got a caller from Las Vegas. Let's see. Caller?
Hi, this is Zach.
Yeah.
Okay, so before the previous caller, there was a woman talking. You and her were talking to about how Israel and America is connected, and you said that that's also true. I just wanted to know if you heard of a book called Eye to Eye. Eye to Eye?
I haven't.
It's about like a book that's called Eye to Eye, based in what the consequences.
Is there any way you can boost the volume? Is there any way you can boost your volume, your output? I can hardly hear you.
Is it okay now?
That's better.
It's called Eye to Eye, and it basically details how every time America went in a way Israel didn't want them to go, there was always like a natural disaster that happened. It was based on like biblical verses, and you said like a lot of this, the Bible was based in the Bible, the Torah, the Old Testament. So I just wondered if you heard of that book. I'm
gonna have to look that up. I didn't know about that. Very interesting. Eye to Eye. Do you know who the author is?
Mm-hmm.
You know the author?
Yeah, Eye to Eye. I can look it up, but I forgot the name.
Here, let me see if this pulls it up. Eye to Eye. It doesn't have George W. Bush on the cover, does it? Dividing Israel?
Yeah, based on the consequences of dividing Israel by
I got it. I got it here.
William Coring or something?
Oh, it came out recently, August 27, or that was the paperback version, but Okay.
It's like Kony, Konigis.
Yeah. I got it up on the screen. I see it.
Yeah, and it's basically talking about every time there's like a natural disaster or a catastrophic event, every time America went in a direction Israel didn't want them to go. And it's based on like biblical verses too. I just wanted to let you know about that book.
All right. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Bye.
Okay. Well, that's one to look into. Facing the consequences of dividing Israel. Caller?
Yo, what up, Zach?
What's up?
What's up, dude? Great show so far. Watched the 8/11 broadcast, and it was great. One thing, dude, you let that Mason kid ramble for way too long.
Well, I thought he was putting out good information. What was wrong with his call?
Nothing was wrong with it. It was just, he was just repeating all the same stuff that you've already said, and he was trying to put a little Masonic spin on it.
I don't know. Well, I guess maybe. I mean, all right. Well,
I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'm just saying, like, I like the quick calls. I like the big, a lot of information in a small amount of time,
Sure.
But okay, so everybody's been complaining. Everybody is saying, okay, the media is owned by the you-know-whos and the banking is owned by the you-know-whos. Meanwhile, what are you guys doing? You guys are just saving up IOU notes, your fake dollary dues with all this Masonic symbolism on it. So you gotta think, what can you do to get off of this system? You have to not use their currency. You have to not use USD, because USD is printed ad nauseum, and guess who's printing it? They're not Christians and they're not Catholics.
Well, I don't disagree with you. I 100% agree. And, for 6 years, I didn't participate in the money system at all. And the problem is, I mean, if you don't eventually participate in the system, you run out of stuff to pay your bills. And if I just kept doing that, I wouldn't have an internet connection and I'd be homeless right now and I wouldn't be putting out any work. So, I mean, we're compromised. You
gotta pay your bills, right? You need to have like a bank account set up with your your PG&E and stuff. But you also have a savings account, right? Everybody has a savings account. If you're saving up dollar bills, if you're saving up cash, first of all, you're losing 2% to inflation every year, and that's by design.
Of course.
And so, also, you might say, okay, then buy gold or silver. I made the same mistake. I bought some silver, and it's been performing terribly since I bought it, because the silver market and the gold market, it's manipulated just like
I've always told people that all the money markets are controlled by these people. So
except one market, and I think I know you know what I'm going to say, because this is Ezra Bitcoin talking.
Well, are you going to say Bitcoin?
Of course, I'm going to say Bitcoin. It's the only immutable. It's the only unhackable. It's the only distributed ledger money system that's ever successfully been implemented in the history of humanity. This is a once in a species moment that we're getting able to get our money into something it's like getting your money into gold when gold was first discovered.
You could be right. I just have a feeling that who's ever behind this, they want us to go towards electronic currency. So to me, it seems like a prototype for where they have us going.
How can you say that when Trump just said that Bitcoin is bad and Mnuchin comes out and attacks Bitcoin? So how can you say that they want you to do it when you have all
these people play both sides of the aisle always, though. These people always play both sides of the aisle. So of course that's going to create a buzz in certain people, and it's going to make people go there. So I mean, it's just like you learn if you're good at parenting or working with children. You don't tell children what not to do. You don't do that, because if you do, what does the child do? Of course, the child's going to do what you told them not to do, unless they're very obedient. I mean, instead of telling them what not to do, you should give them constructive advice for what to do. So look, I'm not going to say that you're wrong, because I could be wrong, but I just don't trust the electronic currency. What happens if the grid goes down? It seems like, what if they turn out the lights on us? Then where's our Bitcoins at?
Listen, dude, your money is already electronic. You think that our cash payment system, you think
That's
everything
what
runs on
exactly.
cash?
That's why I was talking about that the other day, how the banks are now rewarding people to do direct deposit. Why would they do that unless they just want to get more people on the electronic currency and not having the paper stuff in their hands? So
No, you don't get it. We're already on the electronic currency. Do you know how much money, how much cash accounts for the total money supply of USD? It's like less than 1%. It's in the trillions. Meanwhile, derivatives, electronic derivatives, accounts for quadrillions
sure,
of amount of
sure.
capital. And so, you know, the whole fact that the grid going down, if the grid goes down, you're going to be more worried about other things rather than your savings. You see what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying, and I agree. But what the last caller said is also more with what I agree about with currency. It should just be more about a barter system in trading and what you have to offer. And
Bitcoin is the best way to have something to barter with. It is the most efficient way because there's no third party that you need in between to mediate.
well, here's what I'm saying, man. I'd rather it be like this. I'm growing potatoes over here, and you're growing cabbage. I need some cabbage here. How many potatoes you need? I'd rather it be like that.
You can't do international world trade with that, bro.
I don't want to do international world trade. That's the whole problem. I just want to know the people in my neighborhood. We all grow food around here, you know.
Well, you're talking dude. You're talking like Ice Age. You're talking prehistoric times. That's not.
Well, I'm saying that we don't. That's not prehistoric times. It's you know, it's
prehistoric times, bro. Bartering. That's pretty much.
No, it's not. It's not prehistoric times.
Is even being recorded.
Local agriculture is not prehistoric times. Local agriculture is the beginning of states and cities, but
even then, our currency was still being manipulated as far back as then.
Well, I'm just saying that I think money in itself is the problem. It's just like we got to go back to taking care of our environment, our community, growing food. I mean, that's what I think needs to happen.
Money is just it's just a version. It's just a different form of our labor, right? It's just something to account for our labor.
Sure, but it's also controlled by clever people. That's how they, you know.
Yeah, no, it's only controlled by clever people once you let it get that way.
I think money's always been the trick of the clever people, honestly, man. So
No. If you look at the history of money, you look at what it was before. They were trading seashells, and then they were trading collectibles, and then they got into minting coins out of gold.
Sure.
Because you could confirm what gold is. You can test it, right?
Sure.
And now, since the creation of gold and minting coins and stuff like that, Bitcoin is the next. It's the next innovation. This is like the new paradigm.
Well, it could be. So I'm going to keep my eye on it.
It is. All you got to do is read the white paper. Read the Bitcoin white paper. It's all in there.
Where can you use Bitcoins right now?
You could use them on.
I want to go to the grocery store. I got to eat.
Listen, it's not like that. Can I take a bar of gold and go shave it at a gas station to buy a candy bar? No one's doing that. No one's doing this with their stores of wealth. This is a store of wealth. It's not something that you're going to be buying coffee with. You could buy coffee with your dollar bills already, easy enough. You don't need something to let you do that. You need something to keep your wealth secure from these goddamn Talmudic money magicians who are crashing and creating bubbles and then just taking away your wealth with.
But we don't know who actually runs Bitcoin, do we?
What?
We don't actually know who runs Bitcoin.
Yes, we do. The miners. It's a consensus of the miners. There's no one single entity running Bitcoin. There's no one single person issuing Bitcoin. That's the whole point of it.
Right. It's like BitTorrent. I understand that, but we still don't understand who's behind the creation, do we?
It doesn't matter who put the code out there. It's open source, and you could read what's going on behind it. There's no secret. It's not like Ripple, where there's one person issuing all the Ripple. It's not like some of these other currencies where there's one guy behind it. There's no one person you could assassinate and dump the market. It's all distributed. It's worldwide. It's like a virus, dude. You're either going to hop on this train or you're going to be eaten alive by inflation.
Well, we have seen how fast it can spike in value and how fast it can come back down. So it hasn't proven to be stable yet, but I know it's been more stable since it went through those big spikes.
It's not stable, but it's parabolic in an upward fashion. Just look at the average price year by year. Okay, don't look at the month to month price fluctuations. Just look at the year to year, And then you got to look at something called its supply flow. It has a thing called a halvening. So every 4 years, the supply flow gets cut in half. So right now, for every block that's mined, you get 12.5 Bitcoin. And next year, that it's going to be cut in half. It's going to be 6.5 Bitcoin. So the supply flow is effectively going to be cut in half. That's going to fucking drive the price insane. That's why I'm so goddamn manic about this. I want the truth seekers, the people who should have the money, to get in on this early while it's under 10K. And you guys are going to be, you guys are going to be saying the same shit when it's 100K. You guys are going to be saying, oh, it's a one world currency. I have not seen anything make so many non-Jews as rich as Bitcoin has in my life.
Well, I'll tell you what, when I go to this Anarchadelphia thing, a big part of that conference is Bitcoin. So I'll be sitting there listening and learning. So
yeah, I'll end off with this. If you don't buy Bitcoin right now under 10K, your grandkids will spit on your grave. You can bet on that. Like I'm tired of arguing with people about what this is. If you don't do your research and buy it right now under 10K, your grandkids will hate you. They will hate you.
Well, for my sake, I probably won't have any grandkids, but yeah,
that's awful, dude. You need to have kids.
Well, I hear that too. So
all right, I'll let the next caller in here. I'll see you guys later.
All right, take care, man. See you.
All right, bye, Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, yeah, at Anarchadelphia, that's a big part of the conference. So I'll be sitting there listening, see if I can be persuaded. But I don't know, electronic currency, just like I said, I rather would go back to the Stone Ages. Indiana.
It's Rich, baby.
Hey, what's up, man?
I think we got our plans crossed here. I was wanting to call the Angels with you, bro.
There's no way to call them. I was trying to do it.
I know. I saw that in the very, very beginning. So there's no way to get to a voice to any office in there or nothing?
Well, there was. I left a short voice recording, but his thing was only like a 30-second max, so I was able to say about 20 words before it beeped at me.
Jeez. Okay. Well, maybe I'll do some research on some places like the Angels and see where we can call to get like a live person.
I could probably call the MLB league office. I could do that probably.
Yeah, that's what we need to do then. If that's who we need to call. Yeah, I want to call anyone where we can get a human being to answer the phone, and then we can ask him some questions.
Sure. I'll try the MLB league office tomorrow. I bet it's closed already because it's after 5 on the East Coast. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's 5:30 here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what, 2:30 your time?
Yeah, just about.
Well, we could probably still get them.
I'm guessing they close at 5. I'll try them tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll call and see if we can get the MLB office.
Well, do me a favor. Give me a phone call before you do that. So I want to be on the phone, too, because I got some questions also for these people as well as you do.
How do I do that, though, with one phone?
You don't think we could do a live stream with me on the phone?
Well, I got to call them on the phone.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I thought we could both be on the phone somehow.
I'll see if I can figure something out. So
that's a good question. Yeah. And to that lady, you had a lady on the phone for a while there. She seemed to get some things, but not get some other things. What we need to, what people need to know out here, it's one big giant work. Like it's all scripted. It's all born. They're all born to be. The term Republican, the term Democrat means not a single thing. Nobody's going to jail. you know what I mean? It's all when something's fake, like the WWE. Like if the cops come and arrest John Cena, he really didn't go to jail. Guys, like it's not just a little fake. It's not half fake. It's not a quarter fake.
Yeah, right. This is like what people are doing. Like she said, she just watched the video I did on Trump and all the stuff with the wall and the Berlin Wall, and then she's still thinking like somehow he's like fighting the new world. It's just like, are you kidding me? I mean,
my cousin said the same thing yesterday. He's like, well, Trump's fighting all this or something, isn't he? I'm like, no. It's all a work, people. That means it's fake. That means it's theatrics, it's stage. One thing I'd like you to tell new people as new people come in, Zach, they're only seeing your work currently. They're not seeing all those. I'm subscribed still to like 5 or 6 channels of you in your sunglasses that are called Zachary J. Hubbard, and I have access to all of your old channels to where people can see your old content also to get a better understanding of things. You know, I'm one of these people out here that's privileged that's watched like every single video you've ever put out. So, you know, people haven't seen the old content, and that means they don't have an understanding of everything. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So maybe what we can do is, like for instance, there's a fan on the page I'm talking to right now, and I just sent that, and it's a young black woman, and she doesn't understand how the number 42 is stamped all over Black history. She's been listening to you for months, but she has no clue about that. So I just sent her the links to all your old channels that I have access to, and said, "Here, watch all these videos." You know, so it's like maybe we can somehow advertise your other channels. I'll do that on Daily Dose. I'll take all those 5 channels I have that nobody watches those videos no more, and I'll post the entire channel as a link. That way, and people can. Because, yeah, I mean, I understand the whole big picture. And when people, I think every black person needs to know that the number 42 has been stamped all over them, you know. And when I ask them just to see if they know. If they've listened to your work, and I'll be like, "Do you know about the number 42, blah, blah, blah?" And they're like, "No, what you mean?" It's because the average person ain't seen all your videos, bro. Like,
well, if somebody asked that question, have them watch the Black History Month 2019 42 Rituals video, because I cover most things in that. It's a long playlist there.
Where's that one at? I go to Gematria Effect News to find that.
And then go to the playlist tabs, and it's right up there at the top. Black History Month 2019 42 Rituals. There's a lot of videos in there.
Okay. I'm not a person who typically uses the playlist thing or whatever. I always just go to search and keywords, and it takes me where I want to go. So I'm going to look at that, and I'll post that video also as well. But yeah, the people just need to know, as they're new, people next week who haven't even ever, you know, seen you yet, they're going to start watching you. But then they got to know, how do I find his old content? Because it's just as valuable, you know, to know all of it. So, but yeah, that's about all I got, brother.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Later. Okay, so yeah, again, if you go to somebody's channel, up at the top, there's a tab that's playlists, and a lot of these playlists can be updated with other information, but there's a lot of playlists here, including one on 42 in Black history. So I'm going to wrap it up, you guys. I got other things to do. I got to take care of the yard work, you know, the joys of weeding and mowing. And I need to go to the gym too. I can't just sit in the chair all day. So we'll leave it there. If you haven't got the book yet, you definitely should read it. And you know what else is awesome? Since my channel's been unsuspended and I've re-uploaded the videos that I did on the backup channel, I've lost over 500 subscribers since yesterday. And I have no doubt that's YouTube, their latest form of hating. First they suspend me on my birthday, then they drop 500 subscribers once I come back and start posting. So there's 500 people out there who probably don't realize that they lost their subscription. But YouTube, they are the worst. Until next time.